Welcome back to ISNet Study, and this is the current affairs series where we are going to decode the ethics through current affairs. We are going to integrate the dynamic aspect, that is the current affairs, to your static portion, that is the syllabus that is mentioned in your the topics that are mentioned in your syllabus. And here in this video, we are going to discuss current affairs from 3rd June to 9th June. Most of these articles they are taken from Hindu newspaper, one or two maybe from Indian. So let's get into the discussion. The first news article talks about women-oriented welfare scheme. The news article it is talking about Maharashtra scheme, Ladki Bahin scheme. We have talked about ethical aspects of these kind of women-oriented schemes before, and again, since this particular news is coming again and again, we are going to discuss this news article. But here, what we are going to do, uh, we are going to discuss the different aspects. Before we talked about transparency, accountability. Some of the ethical concerns or ethical precautions need to be there with respect to these kind of schemes, these kind of programs by a state. Now we are going to discuss from a different perspective. What are the ethical aspects of women oriented welfare scheme? So here news article is that Maharashtra CM, their revision of this scheme beneficiary it is going on. Some of the people have been beneficiaries have been removed from the list. That criticism that is all going on. So we are not going to focus on this news article. We are going to focus on women-oriented welfare schemes and what are the ethical aspects of women-oriented welfare. So let's see the ethical aspect. The first and foremost, these are targeting women. So the core objective behind these kind of schemes that is women empowerment. Through women empowerment, what we are focusing on financial independence. We are focusing on decision making power of women. So independence, financial independence. When you have the financial independence, you will be having the decision making capability. You're not dependent on anybody else. You have the financial independence, you have the money in your hand, and you can make a decision, you can take a decision whatever you want to do. So women empowerment, first and foremost ethical aspect. Then it focuses on the social justice. Also justice, it talks about fairness, it talks about equal opportunity, equality, all these things. Social equality is that even vulnerable sections of the society they have equal right, equal support, equal encouragement. And here these kind of schemes like ladli behan or ladki behan, here it talks about it is empowering women and it is supporting economically vulnerable section, socially vulnerable section or socially vulnerable women, and it reduces inequality and it ensures fairness. So it talks about social justice and human dignity. See, there is an income support, there is a financial independence, and when you have this financial independence, you can take your own decisions. So it helps women to meet basic needs. So you don't have to ask others, for that matter, your family members own. You don't have to ask the money from your family members, male family members, for your sustenance or your basic needs. So it is another ethical aspect we can focus here is the human dignity. See, I am getting 2000 or 3000 rupees per month, so basic necessities I can fulfill myself because of the state sponsored or state support. So because of this income support, my dignity is upheld here. I am not answerable, I am not accountable to any of the family members, because before that I am taking money. I am not taking money, so I am not accountable to anybody else. I am accountable for my own conscience. Here women empowerment, this leads to the social justice, this ensures human dignity. And these kind of schemes, they, another ethical aspect we can see is the inclusiveness. It is that uh, even the marginalized section, even the vulnerable section or most backward section of the society, they are also integrated, especially even among the most backward section it is focusing on the women. So they are included in the mainstream development, so it ensures participation of marginalized and disadvantaged women in the development. This is nothing but inclusive. And the next ethical aspect of these kind of welfare scheme is the compassion and the care, empathy and compassion. Here it also talks about care ethics. See, when the state it is talking about women empowerment. It is talking about economic independence of women. It clearly shows that the compassion or empathetic aspect, being empathy, having that factor of empathy, it means that you understand what women are going through. Now it is compassionate, it means that state is taking a positive or a proactive step to help these women. So it reflects state commitment to support vulnerable sections of the society. Then another aspect is gender equity. So there is an historical disadvantage, or even if you look at the educational mismatch, or some kind of disadvantage is there with respect to this gender bias. And there is a social disadvantage, there is economical disadvantage, and there is a physical disadvantage is also there to some extent. So because of all these disadvantages, government is taking a step, and this is nothing but gender equity. And then welfare state principle. So even the constitution, it upholds welfare of the citizen, and 50% of the population, they are women. And even economically, they are not as strong as the male counterpart. So in order to make our state welfare, you need to support these kind of vulnerable or marginalized sections. And whatever the steps they are taken by the state, is nothing but they are fulfilling the principle of welfare. So these are some of the ethical aspects behind these kind of women oriented schemes. See, we have had a discussion on this topic before also. There we have talked about very repetitive aspect, the transparency, accountability, responsibility, compassion care. These kind of discussion we had regarding this Maharashtra scheme only. Now the same topic, and here also we are talking about ethical aspects, but these things have not been included before. Those points have been included in this slide, right? Let's move to the next one. The next topic, it is the fire incident. This the fire incident, it's coming again and again in the newspaper. Almost 3 days once we are seeing these kind of fire incident or fire accidents. Again, we have had a discussion regarding fire accident also. Majorly, we need to see from the case study perspective. Case studies we have seen, 2 3 case studies have been asked, and case studies like collapse of a building, or the critical stage. You are a DM of a particular district, and one of the building, it is in a very critical stage, and immediate steps have to be taken. What do you do? How do you handle these kind of situation, these kind of questions, these kind of case studies have been asked in the examination. So here also we are going to discuss the same thing. This also we have covered it, but again the same concept has been taken here, but we are going to cover it from a different perspective. Here it is the Delhi hotel fire. You know that 47 people have been pulled out from the hotel, and so many people have lost their lives also. When this news article published, it is 21. Actually, it is death count, it is more than 21 actually. So let's see the ethical reasons behind it, and we'll see the ethical solutions. Again, here the ethical reasons, whatever we are discussing, this is quite different from what we had discussed in the last video. So the first and foremost ethical reason is that ultimately, see, if you look at these, it is the hotel, but the conditions which are necessary to run a hotel or to run a commercial building, it was not fulfilled here. This was initially a residential building, and after that it has been transformed into a hotel. It has been transformed into a commercial space. But for a commercial space, there will be more number of people, and proper precautions, necessary precautions should be at place. But did they fulfill all these necessary conditions and precautions? They did not. And this is not restricted to only this particular establishment, and this has been a case in the country for many and many, for lakhs of commercial establishments. Now what is the reason behind it? Again, we are not going to talk about ethical reasons, economical reasons. We are going to talk about ethical reasons. What are the ethical reasons behind these kind of establishments and these kind of incidents altogether? So the first and foremost reason, it is that, see, I have transformed my residential building into a commercial building, but in order to get that commercial license, I have to fulfill all the conditions. Now the question is, am I fulfilling all the conditions? No. What am I doing? I am bribing somebody. I am getting all the clearance certificate. Here, what is the intention here? Here, I want to make money. See, in order to get the clearance certificate, I have to fulfill that. I have to, if I have to fulfill all the necessary conditions, I have to spend a lot of money. So if I keep on spending my money, I cannot make profit. So here what happens, I want to maximize my profit. In that process, I am violating the basic necessary safety standard. So there is a safety violation, there is an ethical violation to maximize profit. This is nothing but greed. So because of the greed, I want to maximize my profit, and because in order to maximize my profit, I am violating all the ethical norms. So this first ethical reason. And the second ethical reason is that, see, there is one concept of categorical imperative. Categorical imperative is that there are few things, no matter what, you're not supposed to compromise. You have to uphold these aspects in your conduct. These are called categorical imperative. Usually we see this in deontological ethics, Immanuel Kant, right? Here, human life treating, here what happens, I have a building and I want to make money out of it. I have turned into a commercial space. Now my priority is money. My priority is not a human life. So it is, human life is taken for granted. So here I am treating human life as a dispensable variable. So my priority is money, my priority is not human life here. So when this happens, when the priority changes, see, this is not accepted under the deontological ethics. Under the deontological ethics, there is a concept of categorical imperative. Categorical imperative is, you cannot use another person as a means to achieve an end. Here, what am I using as a means? I am using human life as a means to achieve an end. What is the end here? End is the profit. So in order to make profit, in order to make money, I am using a human life as the way to achieve my end. So this goes against the concept of categorical imperative. So this is the second ethical reason. And the third ethical reason is that administrative apathy. Administrative apathy, also administrative corruption. Corruption is that intentionally I am violating the rules because I am getting some benefit. I am misusing my official position for my personal gain. So administrative corruption is one reason. Since administrative corruption comes under the legal and the social reasons, I am eliminating it. I am focusing on administrative apathy. Administrative apathy is that I know that there is something wrong, and I know that these buildings, these commercial spaces, they are not following the law, and they're not in letter or spirit. I know all these things, but still I am not taking any proactive step to stop that, to eliminate that. So it clearly shows that there is a lack of professional integrity, there is a lack of professional ethics among regulatory authorities. So administrative apathy is the third reason. And the next reason is, one thing, administrative apathy, another reason is there is an apathy at the social level also. Even people, they lack the virtue of civic virtue. There is a civic virtue. Me being a citizen of this country, I have certain virtues, I have to uphold these values. I am not upholding these values. It clearly shows that there is a lack of basic civic virtues. It is also called a collective apathy. I know that the building in my area or in my neighborhood, they are not fulfilling all these safety expectations. But still, I ignore that. I feel that this is none of my business, or I don't want to involve in all this struggle and tussle because it is not going to impact my. So this is my attitude. So it clearly shows that there is a the collective apathy and there is a lack of civic virtue in the society or in the, so at the social level. So ignoring visible violations in the neighborhood. This is another ethical reason. The first is greed, second is violation of categorical imperative, the third is administrative apathy, and the fourth is collective apathy. And the fifth is negligence. Negligence by state, by the owner. Commercial established, state is nothing but administration, and the owner of the commercial establishment, and the society. Even due to the lack of collective apathy, due to the lack of civic virtue, even there is a negligence from their level also. From all the three dimensions, there is a negligence. And what are they neglecting? So safety protocols and whatever the measures, precautions that are needed, there is a neglect. So there's another ethical reason. Negligence, this is the negative value. So because of this, greed is one of the negative values, and negligence is another negative value. And poor work ethics. Poor work ethics, again the same from the state administrative perspective, and the owner or the people working in this establishment. There are also poor work ethics. It means that careless handling of these electrical systems, these kind of flammable materials. So poor work ethics also one of the reasons for these kind of accidents. And lack of professional integrity. So people who are in the administration and people who are involved in the construction, people who are involved in the invigilation department, there is a lack of professional integrity is very much visible from the planning, from the construction, from the supervision, from all the three departments, all the three areas. Clearly nobody is following the rules and regulation perfectly, or whatever the basic necessities required, they're not following it. Somewhere it has been compromised. It clearly shows that lack of professional integrity from administration, from implementation, and from the vigilance perspective, from all the three perspectives: admin perspective, construction perspective, and the vigilance perspective. So lack of professional ethics. So these are some of the ethical reasons for these kind of humanitarian crisis, these kind of accidents. Now, what are the ethical solutions? Again, we are going to talk about those solutions which have not been discussed before. So the first and foremost is that single point accountability. It is necessary to introduce single point accountability. Accountability, it means you know that I am answerable for my actions. Now, what happens here, even in this case also, uh, accountability, one department is holding or transferring this accountability on another department. Usually what happens, the electric department, they are transferring their accountability. They are telling that because of a construction is not proper, we are not responsible for it. They are uh, transferring their accountability to some other department, B department, and B department is transferring their accountability to C department, like water department, water, then the fire, then the environmental clearance department. So these kind of shifting their accountability, shifting their responsibilities clearly visible, and it is not the first time. It is happening again and again. These kind of shifting that accountability legally, yes, they can escape by shifting their accountability, telling that this does not come under my ambit. So everywhere, and even after calling the fire brigade, it came, the locals were telling that it came almost 1 hour late. They called it around 11 o'clock and it came around 12. They were also blaming, and the local people were blaming that even fire extinguisher or the fire brigade, they also arrived very late. And the question has been asked to the fire brigade. They told that the roads are very narrow, the streets are very narrow, and it is a huge traffic, and we did not had enough manpower. Because of that reason, we could not able to arrive at the whenever we got a call. There are l- legal or there are genuine constraints were there to reach the destination. This is the argument, or this is the justification they give. Here again, with the fire department, they are transferring their accountability to some other department. They are telling that because of the bad road, because of unorganized road or unorganization in the area, we could not able to reach. Here accountability has been transferred to some other department. Now, who is responsible? If everybody start blaming other department, if everybody start blaming other person, who is going to be accountable here? That is the question. So we need to introduce single point accountability. These are the ethical solutions. These are not legal solutions. These are ethical solutions. There should be a single point accountability. When there is a single point accountability, then you can make somebody to take responsibility of these kind of incident. When there is a person to take this kind of responsibility, then he will be responsible. He will hold all these departments accountable, that you have to fulfill all these things. Since we don't have these kind of single point accountability, escape escaping from these kind of incidents is quite easy in our country. So introduce single point accountability. Then we have reactive governance in our country. Reactive governance is that now the fire incident happened. Now government, now it is the going for a checking of all these commercial establishments in that area. See, and also government is giving compensation for the people who have injured or people who have lost their lives. These are all reactive governance. See, once the incident happens, after that you are taking steps, you are active in that arena to deal with the issue. You should be proactive. You should follow proactive governance. But what we are doing in our country, it is the reactive governance. So our reaction is what, once these kind of things happen, then we react. Till that we are not bothered. See, this kind of reactive governance, it should abolish from our country. So shift the bureaucratic mindset from ex post facto actions to ex ante prevention. So this is from shift from proactive governance, sorry, reactive governance to a proactive. Then see the categorical imperative aspect. I told you that safety is extremely important because it is directly linked to the lives of the human beings. So safety is a non-negotiable thing. That is categorical imperative. There are certain categorical imperative aspects. You should never compromise with these kind of categorical imperative aspects. So here safety is one among that, and utmost priority has to be given, whether it is a manpower, whether it is financial support, or whether it is removal of legal hurdles, whatever it is, this is non-negotiable. So this is third ethical solution. And the fourth is safety education. It is a moral duty first and foremost, uh, especially in the whether it's a public the construction department or in these kind of humanitarian areas. Make it safety education as compulsory, make it as a moral duty. So this is another ethical solution to deal with these kind of humanitarian crisis, to deal with these kind of fire accidents in future. So this would be sufficient for this topic, and let's move to the next one. The next one is the cross voting, and the Rajya Sabha elections, they are going on, and cross voting, usually what happens, one, there are two political parties, A, B, C, take it as a three political parties. They have certain MLAs and they are involved in the Rajya Sabha elections to select an MP. And usually whip, the chief coordinator of the party, they give instructions. But beyond this instructions given by the political party, still people are the MLAs of these political party, they are involved in cross voting. Cross voting is that Congress government has, Congress whip has given instruction to all its legislators to vote for A, but they are voting for B. So this is cross voting. Party is giving instructions to vote for particular candidate, but the legislators, the MLAs and MPs, they are voting for a different candidate. This is cross voting. It is going against the directions given by particular political entity. So this is what so this article is talking about that. And most of the states, the cross voting, usually the regional parties cross voting from Congress is very much. This is the news article. But what we have to focus here, we are not bothered about all this cross voting and political manipulation, all these things, but we have to focus on the issue of cross voting. What are the ethical issues associated with cross voting? See what happens. We'll see the negatives of cross voting first. What are the ethical concerns in cross voting? And also, we'll see the positives. Why is it necessary? Why do these candidates are involved in cross voting? Is there any positive aspect? Is there any positive side to this cross voting? We'll see that also. So we'll see the both positives and negatives of cross voting. First we'll see the ethical concerns of cross voting, and second we'll see the ethical necessity of cross voting, right? So the first is ethical concerns. So cross voting, it is usually the elected representatives, usually here it is MLAs, vote against the official candidate or the direction of their political party. Usually political parties, they give the directions whom to vote for, and going against and voting some other person is nothing but a cross voting. So what are the ethical concerns here? The first and foremost, it is the breach of party loyalty. See, you are a member of this political party and you have won the elections on name of this particular political party, but you're voting, you're going against the directions given by the political party. It clearly shows that lack of loyalty. I have won this election uh, in the name of Congress, but I am not following the directions given by the Congress High Command. So here, what happens? Loyalty, clearly, there is a question mark on your loyalty. So this violate the factor of loyalty. This violates the factor of trust. So this is one ethical concern, and the second ethical concern is conflict of interest. Conflict of interest is that you are holding a particular official position, and somewhere you're misusing it, or it seems like you're going to misuse that for your personal, like that is a conflict of interest. Now what happens? You're voting for some other candidates. Party told you to vote for a candidate A, but you're voting for a candidate B. It means that somewhere it looks like you are favoring, you are upholding your personal gains over the party ideology. Party has certain stand, certain ideology, and they think that this candidate A fulfill their ideology. But you are not voting for candidate A, you are voting for candidate B. So it clearly shows that you are prioritizing your personal aspects over the party ideology. So conflict of interest and political corruption. Political corruption may be a bribery. You're voting it for a money, or maybe a power inducement, or some kind of arrangement for the future, something like that. It clearly shows that you're misusing your official position. So political corruption is also very much visible. This is another ethical concern. Then erosion of public trust. Public trust is that, see, your Congress and the BJP, predominantly two major political parties, and people voted you for ideology. I have casted my vote for, if I am a right winger, I am going to support BJP. If I am if I'm not a right winger, so I have an option here, Congress. Even if I'm left winger, so maybe this kind of my, I have certain ideology in my mind, and based on that, I usually cast my vote. Here, I am casting my vote for a particular ideology. It is not only the candidate in my MLA elections, it is not only the candidate. Along with candidate, I am voting for the political party. I am the along the political party, I am voting for an idea. But when these kind of elections, these kind of cross voting happens, I have voted my MLA for ideology, for party, all these things. But this MLA is cross voting it. So the direction given by political party is not fulfilling it, or is not following it. It clearly shows that erosion of public trust. I have trusted this person, and I have given my vote to this person. So in electoral process, I have supported this person because of the ideology, because of the political party, and even for the candidate. But what he is doing is, he is focusing on his personal interest, he's focusing on his personal benefits, and he's not caring about the voters people's mandate, not caring the public mandate. So it clearly shows that there is a erosion of public trust. So see, if I am an MLA, if I got 1 lakh votes, there is an expectation from 1 lakh people who have voted me. But what am I doing? I am going against their expectations. So this leads to the erosion of public trust. Next ethical concern is that opportunism. Opportunism is that, again, I maybe a power, maybe a money, or some kind of personal advancement, or some kind of political calculations is very much visible in these kind of cross voting. So this goes against the ethical considerations. The ethical consideration is that, see, people have voted me. The ultimate, my objective is welfare of the people. My objective is to serve the people. But what am I doing? I am focusing on personal advancement. I am focusing on political calculation. Uh, I want to become a minister, or I want to become a chief minister. For that, I am compromising. So clearly is an opportunism, and this goes against the ethical consideration. And the next ethical reason is that undermining democratic mandate. See, this also we had a discussion in the last but one previous point. There also, the election mandate, it is not only given to a candidate, it is given to a political party. It is also based on the ideology. Now, this is a democratic mandate, this is a public mandate. But what you're, by doing cross voting, you are disrespecting this democratic mandate, you are undermining this democratic mandate. And then finally, there is a compromise in integrity. It means that you you are supposed to stick to a regulations, or the directions given by your political party. Me being a member of this political party, it is my objective, it is my responsibility to follow, or to fulfill my obligation, my political obligation. But what am I doing? I am cross voting here. By cross voting here, I am compromising my honesty. If I am compromising honesty, it means that I am compromising my professional integrity. So compromising professional integrity. And again, the finally, it clearly political immorality. It shows that there is a political immorality, and there is clearly lack of democratic trust. So these are some of the ethical concerns of cross voting. Now, we have discussed regarding what are the ethical concerns of cross voting and why it is wrong. Now, there is an argument in favor of cross voting also. Again, here the same thing you can connect with the defection also. Everybody says that defection is ethically wrong, legally wrong, politically wrong. These arguments are there. Even you can write down 10 arguments. But again, there is a pro defection arguments are also there, and you need to be aware of in a similar fashion, in a similar manner. Pro cross voting arguments are also there. I'm just going to put these arguments in front of you, and it is up to you. Whatever stand you take, you have to give the substantial explanation. Now, ethical arguments in favor of cross voting. The first, freedom of conscience. Usually what happens, uh, I have certain conscience. At the end of the day, I am an individual being, and I want to take my own decision. And the person, now there's a political party, two political party A and B, and political political party A is telling to vote for candidate, as an example, Deepak. So now my political party is telling me to vote for this particular candidate, but I am not happy about this person. I know that this person is not good. Now, as an individual being, take this thing as an MLA, MP, all these things aside, as an individual person, my conscience is not happy about this person. My conscience is not accepting this person, because I know that this person is not fit for this job, not fit for this position. So if I'm cross voting, it is nothing but freedom of conscience. So according to my moral judgment, I am voting it. You may see it as a cross voting, but it is my freedom, my freedom of choice. It is my freedom of conscience. This is one argument in favor of cross voting. And another thing, independent decision making. I told you that freedom of conscience, freedom of choice. Here I am voting because I can think independently, and there is a critical thinking, there is a rational thinking, and I am making decision based on objectivity. So independent decision making. So I think what is right and what is wrong. Based on that, I am taking a decision. So again, you may think it as a cross voting, but here I can see the value of objectivity. I am not blindly following whatever my political party is saying. I am voting based on objectivity. So independent decision making for me, for you, it is cross voting. And again, it it does not mean that cross voting does not mean that always the candidate is wrong, always the party is right. No, this is not the case. Party can also be wrong. If my political party is telling me to vote for a candidate Deepak, but Deepak is not a good person here, or he don't have that ability to fit in that position. Now what happens if I vote just because my political party is telling that, if I do my voting based on that, that becomes unethical. I am just, if I just blindly follow my party decisions, my objective is welfare of the public. I have to serve the public. Political party loyalty, these are all fine, but core, what is the core essence of my political life, or my political participation? It is welfare of the citizen, welfare of the public. But here, the decision taken by my political party, that itself is wrong. Now what should I do? I should take the decision in a ethical, I should make my decision in a moral basis. So it looks like there is an unethical decision taken by my political party. My action, this cross voting, is against this unethical decision. I am opposing the unethical decision through the power of cross voting. So this is a third argument in favor of cross voting. And then comes, I know that this person is bad person or undeserving person, then also cross voting is a way to resist these kind of bad. And I told you that what is, if I am an MLA or MP, what is my first preference? My first preference is welfare of the public. My first preference is development of the country. So I am going to focus that, rather than if I focus on the party mandate, if I focus on the directions given by the party, somewhere I am compromising the welfare aspect. So I am prioritizing state over the party. So for you, it looks like cross voting. For me, I am prioritizing welfare of the public. And then ethics of dissent. Through the cross voting, I am showcasing my dissent. See, in most of this political party, there is no internal democratic mechanism to express favor or disfavor here. Majorly high command, whatever high command says, you have to follow it. See, this cross voting is also one of the way to express my dissent. It is one of the ways to tell that I am not happy about the things that are happening inside the party. So since there is no mechanism for a democratic dissent, cross voting becomes one of the ways to express my dissent. So this is ethics of dissent, cross voting. For you, it consider as a cross voting, but for me, I consider it as ethics of dissent. And on the whole, this cross voting, there is a classic debate we can um, uh, finally conclude. One side talks about institutional loyalty, another side it is individual autonomy. Individual autonomy, I have certain my conscience and I want to follow my conscience. Another side, factor of loyalty, the value of loyalty, value of public mandate. So the clash, the dilemma is very much visible in cross. See, usually when the question comes cross voting, we usually take a stand in a negative, opposing cross voting. But there is a favorable arguments are also there. If the question comes critically examined, then you have to write the favorable arguments also. In those kind of questions, these points come in handy, right? Let's move to the next topic. The next topic, it is paternity DNA test. Actually, the Supreme Court has made an observation. Observation is that there's so many cases usually go to the judiciary telling or regarding who is the biological parent or biological father. These kind of cases we see regularly in judiciary. Now, Supreme Court has taken a stand now, and one side there is a child's right to know. The child want to know who is my biological father. Another side there is a right to privacy for a person also. The so-called person, the father, he has also certain fundamental rights. Right to privacy is also his fundamental right. So now Supreme Court has told that we need to balance both these aspects. We should not cross the line. So for that, here in this article, what we are going to do is we are going to see the ethical precautions that are necessary for these kind of paternity DNA tests, right? So let's see the ethical precautions that are necessary. Supreme Court has told that balancing is very much necessary. See, one side, child's right to identity and no biological parentage. That issue is there. There's a genuine request, there is a genuine intention to know that. But another side, even the person, he has the right to privacy, right to dignity, and bodily autonomy is there. You need to respect both these things. So how do you handle it? By balancing both this. So if these kind of cases comes, paternity DNA test, what are the steps, what are the precautions you need to take? Let's list out the ethical precautions which are necessary to deal with paternity DNA. The first, right to identity versus right to privacy, the point we had just now discussed. Child, it has a legitimate interest, the genuine interest is there because it wants to know who exactly is the biological father. So there is a legitimate interest, there is a legitimate demand from a child. At the same time, there is a autonomy, bodily autonomy to a person. So there is a dignity related to that person. So even the person wants to keep the information private. For that, how do you handle it? So ethical precaution is necessary. Balance the right to identity versus right to privacy, and it has to be done on case to case basis. It is not that one blanket argument or one blanket decisions, it is not going to work. It has to be on case to case basis. Then what is the ethical precautions we need to focus? Human dignity, dignity of both child and alleged father, both of them, dignity of both these individuals need to be protected here. Dignity and autonomy of child, dignity and autonomy of alleged father. The second ethical precaution, I mean to say that don't make any hasty decisions or don't take any hasty step that can damage the dignity of a child, that can damage the dignity of alleged father. So you have to handle it very sensitively, very sensible uh, way of handling should be there. Then best interest of child has to be protected. Again, it says that whatever the ethical ways, whatever the legal ways, legal protections that are necessary for the child, yes, you give that. But at the same time, don't compromise with the dignity or a see well-being of both child and this. Ultimately, we best interest of the child, it is very much necessary, but at the same time, don't compromise with that. And confidentiality, disclosure of sensitive personal information it is going to damage the personal lives. Actually, it is going to damage the family setup also. So before that, make sure if you're 100% sure and it is legally necessary, ethically necessary, then only go for disclosure. Till that, maintain the confidence. Then justice and fairness. Here, courts must ensure neither party's rights are disproportionately compromised. You should not, again, this is another precaution. The same thing, all these points are talking about balancing both father, child, and the alleged father. And in that balancing, in that precautions, justice and the focusing on justice aspect, focusing on fairness aspect, it is also very much necessary. You should not compromise these values also. And finally, consent. Consent from alleged father, consent from the even the child or the caretaker of the child. That is also very much necessary. Informed consent is also very much necessary, right? These are some of the ethical precautions that are necessary for paternity DNA. Let's move to the next topic. The next topic, this news article is talking about a person has been convicted after 33 years. Now, the person is 85 years old. I'm not going to talk about what exactly the case is. Your case was going on in the judiciary. After 33 years, finally, judgment has come, and now the accused person is 85 years old. He is in the deathbed. Now, this is the news article. Now, the question here is it is a delayed conviction. What are the ethical aspects of these kind of delayed conviction? What exactly this sends signal to the public? So what are the ethical concerns here? There is a concept called delayed justice is justice delayed is justice denied. So here for victims and the families, if you are taking 30 plus years, 33 years to deliver the justice, it is not only delay of justice, it is also a denial of justice. So ethical concern is that it is not acceptable. It is not 1 or 2 years, it is 33 years, it is almost 2 3 generations have moved on. Now it is not, I am not getting a justice after 33 years, it is just that it feels like justice has been denied to me. You can give legal reasons, you can give that the logistic reasons, you can give any number of reasons to it, but ethically this is wrong. So ethical concern is it is delay in justice is nothing but denial of justice. And then timely closure, it goes against the timely closure. Usually I want to have a closure, whether it is accused person, whether it is a victim, whoever it is, we all need that timely closure. Victim is suffering, there is a emotional distress, there is a psychological distress on the victims. Victims want that closure. There is a lot of uncertainty. This creates emotional distress, this creates psychological distress here, and this is going to impact the life of victim here. And even if the alleged person, if there is a wrong accusation, it is also going to impact that person also. So denial of timely closure for both victims or alleged person. So again, this is another ethical concept. And erosion of public trust. See, 33 years is a very, very long time. And public, they are going to lose the interest now. And even if there, even in general, I have heard these kind of things that even if there is a property dispute, once it goes that these kind of civil disputes, people say that it takes 10 15 years to get the final order. So they are scared of approaching judiciary now. They're looking for negotiation, they're looking for some kind of arbitration. But what exactly it shows is there is a lack of public trust, erosion of public trust on institutions. If erosion of public trust institution, on every institution it happens, then there is a breakdown of social contract, there is a breakdown of government, there is a breakdown of established order. Again, this is another ethical concerns. It is very much uh, need to be focused, very much it is in need to eliminate these kind of long delays. See, people are going to lose the trust, lose the confidence on the judicial system altogether. So erosion of public trust, and then come institutional inefficiency, clearly shows that inefficiency, judicial shortcomings here, whether administrative shortcomings, judicial shortcomings. See, they can give a number of reasons, but this is not acceptable. 33 years is a very long time. This is not acceptable. It is clearly shows that administrative shortcomings. It clearly shows that institutional inefficiency. Then impact on accused. Just imagine what exactly, if there is a wrong accusation, what both you have to think of it. Victim, the mentality of victim, or the emotional or the psychological status of a victim, or if there is a wrong accusation, emotional and psychological status, psychological uh, the position of a accused person. So the you are living in uncertainty, and here it is for 33 35 years you are living in uncertainty for decades and decades altogether. It is impacting your human rights, it is impacting the human dignity, it is impacting the human well. So this is another ethical concern. And then comes accountability deficit here. See what happens. Judiciary is now pointing. It is giving the reason, pointing finger to the lawyers. Lawyers, these people are dragging this. Lawyers, they are showing on the law and order agencies that they did not support. Law and order agencies, they are giving the reasons of logistics, of not having proper infrastructure, all these things. See, there is a clearly accountability deficit. Nobody is ready to take the accountability. So these kind of accountability deficit is another ethical concerns in these kind of delayed conviction, and because of that, people are going to lose interest or lose confidence in the institutions. Then it is a violation of social contract. Social contract theory, you know that I am surrendering my rights to the state. Now it is responsibility of a state to protect me or to give protection to me. Now it 33 years for the conviction, it clearly shows that it is not, there is no efficiency, or there is an administrative failure from a state to protect me or to protect my rights. So this is a violation of social contract theory. And I told you that erosion of institutional trust because of that administrative inefficiency. It the terminology you can write it in your examination as a crisis of legitimacy. So these are some of the ethical concerns for delayed conviction. And finally, the last article here, the Amit Shah, he has given call to the three states here, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana, with respect to rejuvenating the river Yamuna. So news article is that, but what we have to focus is that interstate cooperation. So here, these kind of river water issue, boundary issue, border issues, how do you solve this? Through the interstate cooperation, or else it will turn into a political manipulation. It will turn into a ego clash or a selfish. You can manipulate the entire event to a selfish motive. So in order to eliminate all these things, what is the way to handle these kind of interstate disputes? Through interstate cooperation. And let's see the ethical concerns. Sorry, here the you can ignore this heading here. And ethical aspects of interstate cooperation. The first and foremost, these thing of these kind of cooperation, these kind of coming together to solve the problems. It promotes the teamwork, it promotes trust, and it promotes collective responsibility. So all these three states, they are sharing common resources, and even for that matter, land border disputes, or especially river water projects, mining issues, and forest demarcation. There also, these kind of cooperation leads to the collective responsibility. These kind of collaborative working, it promotes the teamwork and it promotes the trust, not only at the administrative level, even at the public level also. Then this is nothing but ethics of coordinated duty. I have certain duty to my state, right? I belong to the state of Delhi. Now I have certain state towards this state, but at the same time, I am a citizen of this country also. I am an Indian also. Now I have the duty to the country also. Now, coming together to solve these kind of disputes, it is nothing but the ethics of coordinated duty. Then there is a shared institutional responsibility. So, when there is ethics of coordinated duty, it leads to the accountability, it leads to the responsibility. So, here, since the state machineries are involved, there is a shared institutional responsibility. Then it leads to the collective and collaborative governance. We talked about good governance, we talked about reactive governance, we have talked about proactive governance, and another terminology you need to remember, it is the collaborative governance. Three state government, three different state governments coming together, and they're ready to work together with an open mindedness. So collaborative governance, and shifting from isolated egoism to cooperative trust issue. Before, what happens, if you look at the Kaveri River issue or the border issues, between the state, it turned into political manipulation, it turned into ego manipulation. And see, these kind of negative values and or negative aspects enter into the discussion. There will not be any value based or proactive, ethically accepted solutions. Rather than focusing on all these things, we focus on all the negative aspects. We focus on manipulation. We try to take advantage, political advantage. There is a political motive behind it. There is an economic motive behind it. There is a commercial motive behind it. This is what happens. So now these kind of cooperation or the uh, collaborative effort, it shifts from isolated egoism to the cooperative trust, especially for public assets. Then comes, see, in this news article, it is talking about biological demand. See, BOD, COD, TSS, all these are all technical terms. This technical terms, what I'm trying to say is, it means that decisions are taken based on the evidence based decision making. It is not emotion based decision making. Usually most of the time, it decisions are taken on the political power, muscle power, money power, emotion based decisions. But here decisions are taken based on the evidence. This clearly shows the value of objectivity. This ensures probity in government. So these are some of the ethical values in interstate cooperation, right? I hope you understood all these things. So this is it for the day, guys. We have covered 9 news articles, and thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.